Speaking of the migrant crisis, speaking of budget, speaking of property taxes, speaking of the rest, speaking of running into the Victim Olympics and diversity, equity, and inclusion hires, let's go ahead and bring Brandon Johnson back to the front of the congregation. He's now being opposed, and thank you to everybody that came on my show. I believe that y'all had a saying in this and a doing in this, and I'm going to read the Cash App shortly. Migrant crisis is going to still be supported regardless of whether or not they're still getting taxpayer dollars from the federal government. So y'all gonna still be in tax. That's what the Chicago mayor is saying. And in addition to that, he's trying to figure out how to not walk back these property tax hikes that's being opposed by the people and the aldermen. Take a look.
President Judy, Mayor Brandon Johnson making it clear today whether it's protecting undocumented families in Chicago or his budget priorities, he will not compromise on his values. But on the budget, he seems willing to ease some of the pain on his proposed property tax hike. Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed $300 million property tax hike has received significant criticism from alderpersons from the moment he introduced it right up until today, as public safety and other departments were getting their budgets scrutinized.
What we know is this: we are working to ensure that we go line by line to squeeze this budget as much as we can before we ask for $1 more from taxpayers.
In light of all the pushback from the council, the mayor suggesting his tax hike plan may not have been as serious as originally thought.
Well, I don't necessarily consider it as pushback. I'll say it like this. So as a public school teacher, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. And so now that we have the attention of everyone, I've said from the very beginning, this is a proposal.
How'd y'all let a public school teacher become mayor of Chicago? How did y'all let a public school teacher become the mayor of Chicago? And then this man gonna lie to y'all and say, sometimes as a public school teacher, we do things to get y'all attention, and now that we got y'all attention, like, what you think this is? What you think this is, a high school? This is people's real lives and real money that we playing with here. This ain't no game. Talking about you doing stuff to get people's attention. People can't even go to the grocery store. They got crime that's ridden their communities, that's taking over their communities, and they robbing dollar stores. As a public school teacher, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. Is you crazy? You smoking crack? You liar? Man, get the hell out of here. You're not doing stuff to get people's attention when you're talking about a $942 million budget deficit in Chicago. Man, what is y'all doing electing this guy? Why would y'all elect this man to be the mayor of Chicago? Is y'all crazy? And some people actually donated to his campaign.
I'm a collaborative mayor.
But Mayor Johnson said layoffs and furloughs are still out of the question, and he won't defer making a supplemental pension payment this year. The mayor denied misreading the council when he announced the property tax hike.
My finance team continues to have robust conversations about other forms of revenue that they should consider.
Also today, with the potential loss of federal dollars for law enforcement if the city won't cooperate with the Trump administration's plans to deport undocumented immigrants, the mayor making it clear Chicago will not be bullied into helping ICE agents.
We're not going to bend or break or cower to someone's threat. We're going to stand up and unite around our shared values, and they have my assurance that I'm going to protect the families of this city.
Listen. I need y'all to hear what I'm saying, and I need you to hear me clearly. For everybody that is in Chicago, okay? Everybody that's in Chicago. What is the population of Chicago? Let me look this up real quick. For all 2.5 million of y'all that's still in Chicago, which is a lot of people, for all 2.5 million people in here, this man is going to destroy y'all city, and it's going to be nothing left of it. Pride cometh before the fall. Pride cometh before the fall. I'm telling you, y'all better get this man. I'm not telling y'all to leave because y'all voted for this. So deal with y'all stuff. The same way that we tell these illegal migrants, hey, fix your own country, the same way that y'all got this enthusiasm, the same way that we went back and we voted in Trump, we endured through the Biden-Harris administration, we stayed home, the same way that I stayed in Detroit, and I decided that I wanted to deal with what's going on in my city because I was born here. I didn't ask to be born here, but this is what my circumstances are, and now the city is evolving and it's coming back. The same way that we telling illegal migrants to get your own country together, don't run over here and start telling us that we need to spend our taxpayers to take care of you, is in the same way that I'm telling y'all in Chicago, stay home. Stay home. Stay home. Fight the battle home. Fight the battle at home. Stay home. You voted for him, stay home. Stay home. We got a surplus here in our city. Y'all got a deficit in y'all city. Stay home. But this is what I will warn you of. This man is saying that he is willing to lose federal support, billions of dollars in support that also affects public safety. Let me play it for you again for those of y'all in the back that didn't catch it.
Denied misreading the council when he announced the property tax hike.
My finance team continues to have robust conversations about other forms of revenue that they should consider.
Also today, with the potential loss of federal dollars for law enforcement if the city won't cooperate with the Trump administration's plans to deport undocumented immigrants, the mayor making it clear Chicago will not be bullied into helping ICE agents.
We're not going to bend or break.
Federal dollars. Y'all are short 2,000 police officers already. And I'm hearing whispers. I'm hearing from my sources that is within the Chicago Police Department that they are preparing to have a mass exodus, meaning that police officers that are still there are trying to figure out how they can pack up their families and get another job somewhere else where they are supported by their local governments. They can get better pension, better pay, and don't have to put their lives on the lines every single day. And it's going to be a mass exodus of police officers that no longer want to participate with the city. You are down 2,000 police officers. They just removed ShotSpotter. Listen to me. Listen, Linda. I don't know if y'all really understand how serious this is. This is a big deal. This is a massive deal. Y'all don't have no money. Y'all operating at a deficit. Y'all credit rating is about to go down. Y'all mayor is saying that he don't even want to make sure that he getting federal dollars for y'all city and for police officers and public safety. Y'all are dependent on this money in order to survive and keep your family safe. They are talking about raising your property taxes, and then ultimately you're going to lose your home. You already have property taxes that is the highest in the nation. And he's talking about standing on family values. I haven't been wrong on anything political. When everybody was saying that it's not going to be a wash, I told you it was going to be a landslide. I told you that he was going to win every single battleground state, and I staked my reputation on it. I told you who was going to be in the administration and what roles that they were going to play. I am telling you right now that this city is on a pathway to bankruptcy. I told you 2 years ago. I told you a year ago. I told you 6 months ago. I told you 3 months ago that y'all were going to have property tax hikes. That crime was going to explode and run rampant. That the Democratic National Convention coming to Chicago was going to leave y'all in even further of a deficit. I'm telling you that if you don't get some control in y'all city, if y'all don't start participating in these meetings and going there, you are going to be left in shambles. 100% shambles. This is now what they're saying about the property tax hikes. Okay? They are willing to support migrants. They're placing migrants before you in your own in your own backyard where you pay taxes and crazy amounts of taxes.
Mayor Johnson is calling an audible this afternoon. He is walking back his proposal for a $300 million property tax hike to balance the budget.
Political reporter Bear Schutz is live to explain what the mayor's change of heart means for you.
Terrence, Sylvia, $300 million property tax hike. What $300 million property tax hike? The mayor now deciding to negotiate that number down in the face of opposition from city council members, a majority of which threatened to vote it down themselves in a special city council meeting this week. The mayor says the contention is a sign that he is open to negotiate.
Should the people of Chicago know that I'm serious of working through this dynamic? Absolutely, I'm serious about it. Absolutely. That's why we put the proposal out in the first place, and that's why we're not dictating the outcome and the success of this budget. Again, it's a collaborative approach. I will continue to lead that way.
So the mayor's administration has been in negotiations with some Alder people over the weekend on alternative sources of revenue to make up that $300 million. He says all options are on the table. He might reduce that number. He might get rid of it altogether. One thing not on the table, any job cuts or furloughs for city workers. So that leaves Alders scrambling for new tax ideas.
There were discussions around the personal property lease tax. It is a tax on technology companies that lease cloud space. There's also conversations around taxes on cigars or cigarettes, as well as plastic, among others. There's also discussions around the ARPA funding.
People talked about like Delta 8, for example, and maybe taxing that either in beverage form or other things. Parking tax, garbage fees that come up. So there's a number of things. I think what
Tax, 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 more tax to tax to tax, tax on gas, tax on cigarettes, tax on parking fees, tax on blinking, tax on breathing, tax on waters, tax to tax to tax to tax, more taxes, 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 taxes. Just tax to people. Tax them some more, and tax them some more, and tax them some more, and then add a city tax on top of it, and then eventually we'll get to the property tax. Tax people. Democrats don't know no other words except for tax the people. Tax to tax, more taxes, taxes on you, taxes, tolls, taxes and tolls, tolls and taxes, more taxes.
I'm concerned about is there are some of our colleagues that think that foregoing the pension payment or lessening it is a good idea. It is fundamentally irresponsible to think that that's the way to go.
So it's a whole buffet of possible tax options there. What Vasquez is referring to at the end is this extra pension payment that the city has been making for the last few years to make sure those beleaguered pension funds don't slip into bankruptcy. The mayor and Alderman Vasquez saying, no, we got to keep making that pension payment. However,
Foxhole says, don't forget the tax that you collect from those that's collecting taxes. Oh, I told you that it's the middle class that suffers. It's the middle class that suffers. And you know what this is also, you know what he's standing on? Where he's saying that they're going to stand on supporting migrants above actually making sure that you are protected in your own communities. Let me give Brandon Johnson a round of applause. They are going to stand on taxing more instead of supporting the people in the community with public safety. They are willing to lose federal dollars. I have never heard of a city ever in my life saying that they're willing to lose federal dollars, and you know Trump don't play no games. You know Trump not playing no games. Mess around and find out if you want to. Keep playing Russian roulette if you want to. Play chicken if you want to. Trump is not swerving. The only difference is you driving in a Neon and he driving in a tractor trailer Mack truck. You driving in a Neon playing chicken with a dude that's on a tractor trailer. Man, y'all so crazy.